how they work. So we look at the growth of the market. So we looked at where we can see success stories. But today I want to talk to you about how can you invest into green bonds. Yeah, so that is important. So it's clearly an investment mechanism that you want to be looking at. I'm just going to walk through some of the steps and add a little bit of you know light into those green bonds for you to consider that in your investment portfolio. So green bonds is not just a buzzword. They clearly are a gateway to align your investment with environmental values. And today, you know, I can show you how you can get started with green bonds. So how would you do that? So step one, the first thing you want to do, you need to find green bonds. Yeah. And they're available in major brokerage, investment platform. You can look at, bond label green and filter your search for environmentally focused investment. And now, before you actually invest, you have to do some homework. You have to go and check out the bond rating. That's what is telling you how good or not the bond is. You need to look at the project and look at all the deliverable. You need to find out, what is the third party certification, like, for example, Green Climate Bond Initiative. Transparency is key in here to ensuring that your investment is truly green. And when investing, you want to consider your strategy. So, are you going for individual bonds? Are you going for green bonds, mutual funds? Are you going for ETFs? So, let me explain a little bit of all of that. If you don't know what jargon I'm talking about, I'm not a pro. Let me just say that, but those are just information I've collected so that I give you some information. At least you can come to my level, right? So, individual green bonds. So, what are they? Yeah. So, they are specific debt security, issued by a corporation, a government, or an entity to fund environmentally friendly project. And when you buy an individual bond, so what you do is you lend money directly to the issuer, and it promises, to pay back the principal on a specific date and provide you with regular interest payment known as coupon. That's what we're talking about here. So what is the pro, for these kind of initiative? It's transparency. Yeah. You know exactly which project you're funding, the predictability, your fixed interest payment on a set maturity date. So that is actually quite clear. So what is the cons? It's maybe some liquidity. So it may be harder to sell it before it comes to maturity, and also diversification. When you invest into a single bond, it can expose you to a higher risk in terms of the default of the issuers, right? So that's what we can say. So, but that was individual green bond. Now let's talk about green bond mutual funds. So the mutual funds, they are an investment vehicle that pool together money from many investors to purchase a diversified portfolio of green bonds. And these funds are managed by a professional fund manager, and they select and monitor the fund. So that, obviously, you've seen that for any other mutual fund that are not necessarily green. What is the pros for those for those methods? Diversification. You reduce your risk, to exposure to a variety of bonds, but also you have professional management, that give you, at least some assurance that people that are dealing with that, they know what they're talking about, or at least that's what we hope they do. Yeah. What are the cons? The fees, obviously, right? So, management and other fund related fees, it also depends if you want to have, either an active account or maybe passive account. So it depends, yeah. But also have less control because those investors, they cannot choose the specific bond in fund portfolio because they're looking at a group here. So the other method that you can use as well, it's the ETF, the green bond ETF, and they're similar to mutual funds and that they offer a diversified portfolio of green bonds. However, the ETF, they traded on stock exchange, just like individual stock, which allow for investors to buy and sell shares of the ETF throughout the trading day at market prices. So the obviously advantage of that, it's the liquidity. It's easy to trade like stock with pricing, updated throughout the day. You have lower fees with ETF, typically, lower expensive ratio compared to mutual funds, and also transparency. The holding they often disclose, daily, so which is good for you. What is the disadvantages? It's the volatility of the market. Price fluctuated, throughout the day, and that could be sometimes stressful. Yeah, from that. Also, the passive management. Most ETF they're not actually managed. They're not professionally adjusting the portfolio based on changing condition market. So they just follow an index, indices. Yeah, but like any investment in green bond, you want to look at the risk and the returns. So generally speaking, they offer returns comparable to traditional bonds, and it's crucial to balance your green bonds intentions with your financial goal and a risk appetite. And the green bond, it's, as I said before, it's an ever-growing market. You want to look at the market trend, the new issues, the evolving trend, and so on and so forth. It's important. Financial news dedicated to green finance websites, investment advisor, they can keep you on the pulse. But definitely you want to look at that. As we're wrapping up this Green Bond 101, by investing green, you're not just building your wealth, but you're also contributing to a sustainable future. So I'm hoping that I would have convinced some of you, and they can see I've taken even more time to say, hey, you want to be looking at that, because that's how we can actually fund this future that we're all chasing. Take care, guys. I'll speak to you tomorrow.